Hey, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my weight loss journey I've had over the past few years. Uh, I'd been overweight for quite a while, good portion of my life. When I was a teenager, I started working at the fast food places like most of us do, and you know, you know how it goes when you're there. You eat a lot of what's around you. Um, needless to say, I had ballooned up pretty big in my late teenage years. 220 was where I was at when I ended up leaving McDonald's and ended up going to work over at the Gap warehouse near my house. That's where I met my wife at as well, actually. And I think through the nature of the work there at that place, and as well as as the hours. I was working third shift at the time. I ended up losing a ton of weight there. It was crazy. I went from 220 all the way down to like 185, and that was no effort on my part. Even it was literally just physical work, and like I said, I think the hours were nuts. I was sleeping really weird hours and stuff, so I probably wasn't eating as much. But I wasn't tracking any of that stuff though, so it was just just by chance. Um, but that ended kind of quickly though. After I lost my job at the Gap, I did a bunch of random warehouse work and stuff, and kind of just my eating habits got terrible. I was eating a lot of garbage, and by garbage I mean just high calorie fast food stuff. And so over the years, I went through some ups and downs. We'd do like weight loss challenges at my random jobs I was working at, and I'd go down a little bit and then balloon back up. And I think the worst I ended up at was at my current job. I ended up ballooning up to about 240 pounds, which is the heaviest I'd been in my life. And I always told my wife that if I reached 240 pounds, I was going to have to do something. So I kind of always danced in the 230s and just thought everything was okay. And in reality, it really wasn't. I was pretty overweight. I mean, I'm 5'8", you know, 240 pounds. I mean, I know people, say, oh, you don't, they would tell me you don't look that bad and stuff. But if you look at my previous pictures, I mean, I had a pretty big belly, and my face was much bigger, and just very obvious that things weren't going too hot for me. I felt good because I was eating whatever I wanted, exercising here and there, but nothing serious. Nothing that was making a difference. So what I ended up doing was just kind of randomly. I had a coworker. He was telling me about a diet he was on, and he called it. He said it was intermittent fasting. And I knew what fasting was. I have friends that do that for certain times a year and stuff. But it was something I always kind of joked around about and said, "Oh, I could never do that. I can't not eat for a long time." Sorry, I got some acid reflux going here. But that was kind of a mental barrier though that like I set for myself. Just by coming right into it, saying, "Oh, I could never do that." When I talked to my buddy about it, he framed it in a way that made it so much easier for me to digest, I guess. He said, I asked him one night because he was always really in good shape, and I asked him what he did, and he told me, of course, he works out, but yeah, also he told me about the intermittent fasting. I said, well, what's that entail? And he told me, he said, man, I don't eat for 16 hours, but when I do eat during my 8 hour window, I eat like a whole pizza, man, and you know, it doesn't affect me. I mean, I still stay in the shape I'm in. And I said, man, and in my head and out loud, I said, that sounds like my kind of diet. I know I could tear up a whole pizza. So I guess the big mental hurdle for me was getting over the 16 hours of not eating. That just seemed like a unbelievable amount of time. But he told me that uh, he told me about a few YouTubers that were doing it. And I watched some videos, but he also told me that a big part of it is the mental. You tell yourself you can't do it, but also he said something else that made it a little easier for me to get into, which was most of the time you fast for a good amount of time anyways. Like when you're asleep, if you get enough sleep. I mean, let's say you get however much sleep you get. I mean, 4, 6, 8 hours. That's a big portion of time you're not eating, obviously. So then you just add on to that, before or after the hours that you know, want to add on to your fast, I guess. So I said, yeah, that's that makes a lot of sense. So I decided to kind of give it a whirl. I was trying to figure out what my time period would be, and all that. And I work third shift, at a different job, of course, than I talked about before. But this job's a lot less physical. But I decided to go ahead and try to start my fast at what do I want to say? That was 2:30 a.m. in the morning. I would eat lunch at work, and then I would just continue my fast all the way up until, what would that be, 6:30 p.m. the next day. So essentially, when I got up, I usually get up around 2:30 or 3 in the afternoon to get my kids off the bus, and then we would just wait a few hours. Essentially, I had to wake up, wait a few hours, and then I would eat dinner with everybody. Then go to work, eat something at work. Like I said, around 2, so I'd be done by 2:30, and then we would start the whole cycle over. That one worked okay for me, but I got to the point where I realized that it worked out better for me if I actually didn't eat at work at all, which was 8 hours or 8.5 hours, and then just came home, went to sleep, and then woke up, and then right when I woke up, I was out of my fast and I could eat. So essentially 11 p.m. to 3 p.m. the next day. And I stayed on that for years. And it was amazing because, I mean, within the first, year, actually within the first few, 3 or 4 months, I was losing weight. And I got to, like I said, within the first year, I was down probably, 20 pounds, 25 maybe even. I don't remember. It was something nuts. And I mean, for me, I thought it was amazing. I got down to like, 215 or something, and I said, wow, this really works. I mean, so I just thought it was some sort of a magic pill, like, man, I could sustain this. I can do this forever. I would usually, though, one day a week, just to be, completely upfront, one day a week I would have like what I call a cheat day. And that's basically where you, don't fast. You would break your fast for the day, or just essentially not follow the routine, but then get right back on it the rest of the week. So, so let's say 6 days out of the week, I was 16 hours not eating, 8 hours eating, and then, one day I would just kind of eat whenever I wanted to. So, again, like I said, I did this for probably 3+ years, and I was able to get down to around 210, and at that mark, around 210, I plateaued, and I realized that I could only eat, like, well, I could only lose more weight if I started counting my calories, essentially. Because I couldn't figure out why I wasn't losing, so I started tracking what I was eating. This is something I'd done in the past, tracking my food, and it always works. It's just nobody wants to do it. It kind of sucks, but I went ahead and started doing that while fasting, and I was able to, through setting a limit on my calories, I was able to lose more weight. So I was able to push through that 210 barrier and get all the way down to, I think the lowest I got was maybe it was 195, something like that. And this is mainly when we were doing contests. We had weight loss contests. These things always come up at some point, but yeah, I got down to 195. But as soon as I quit counting my calories, I would go right back up to 210. And 210, like I said again, with intermittent fasting, was just where I was at. Like I was my plateau, or my bottom, I guess, doing intermittent fasting alone. Which was much better than 240. I mean, losing 30 pounds is still good. However, I was still pretty overweight. And I think I knew it when we were taking a trip to Florida back in 2017, and we had taking some pictures out on the beach and stuff. And I told myself I wasn't going to wear a shirt on the beach. I was going to, not like I'd done but in the past, because I was so overweight, I was embarrassed. So I, went out there, shirts off, all that, and I noticed on the pictures and stuff that I was still had I had a lot to go weight wise. It wasn't, I wasn't happy with the way I looked still, and so I think it took me a while. I still stuck with the intermittent fasting, and I kept saying, well, if I want to go further, I just have to count my calories and keep on going. That turned out to be very difficult for me, because the fasting wasn't easy. There were days where it was no problem, but there were other days where it was difficult. I'd come home from work and I wasn't sleepy, and I would want to eat, because you'd be hungry, and you'd have to really kind of just force yourself to not do it, which was difficult. And I messed up some days, again, like I said, full disclosure. I mean, nobody's perfect, we always, fall down. You just kind of have to come back, stronger the next day. But so I kind of got to the point where I said, well, this isn't the way I want to be. I don't want to. I felt like I was torturing myself when I was going, through the fasting and the counting calories. And what it came down to essentially was, I was watching some YouTube videos again about trying to figure out what I could do differently about, the way I was going about my weight loss. And I ran into some videos from a couple guys, Coach Greg, Doucette, of course, and Remington James. And Remington James, probably more so just because of the way he presents his videos. He does a lot of, it's funny, you can kind of follow his channel, how he's changed over the years, but the format of his videos now are really easily digestible. You basically, he'll tell you a recipe that he's going to do, goes through the whole process, shows you exactly what you need to put in. There's no like ambiguity about how much you're going to need to make or whatever with your foods. And then, you just kind of go by that. I mean, as far as foods to eat and everything like that. So that was something that, what was different about these two guys was that they had a philosophy that essentially diets fail because, you're trying to starve yourself all the time, and you're always trying to like kind of punish yourself. Most people want to eat until they're full. And I, heard that and I said, yeah, I want to eat till I'm full. I mean, that's, it sucks when you don't eat till you're full. I mean, you just feel like crap. Um, and essentially, the way they presented it is that you can do that. You can eat till you're full, but you have to eat the right foods, though. And I'm not talking about like, you know, organic food or any of that stuff. I mean like you know low calorie foods. I mean, and I hate like I don't want to disparage anybody or what anybody's doing because if something's working for anybody, I mean that's just keep doing it. That's what you have to do is in life is figure out what works for you and go with it. But I throughout my entire life, and every time I've tried to lose weight, the one thing that always worked, always for me, was calories in and calories out. And so essentially, you you track how many calories your body burns. I mean, you can go onto the internet, find a basal metabolic rate calculator, which you put your age in, your height, and all this stuff, and what your weight is, and it kind of gives you a formula of what how much weight or how many calories you burn, by being sedentary, and they give you different categories of fitness, like sedentary or light active, and so on. So you basically that's just it's not like it's not 100% accurate or but it's a guideline to where you can look at that and say, okay, this is how many calories I burn, just sitting down or being sedentary, whatever. You take that and then you basically compare that to the calories you're eating, and you have to track that in order to be successful, of course. And at the end of the day, when you do that, you can almost to a T figure out exactly where you're going wrong, or what's happening. I mean, you just have to. The main thing is though is you got to be honest with yourself about the whole thing. I mean, and because when you say, oh well, I did a little bit of exercise today, or I did, I only ate a couple chips, it's like you gotta count all that stuff because the only person you're cheating is yourself. At the end of the day, I mean, like, it's not a game where like you're gonna win because you cheated, and somebody else didn't notice. Like, it's just you. So, so cheating on any of that stuff only hurts you at the end of the day. But but yeah. Anyways, getting back to what I was talking about though, there, you know, Greg Doucette and Remington James, they talk about calories in, calories out, eating till you're full, but eating the right things. And again, like I said, eating the right things to me is low calorie things. So the way they break it down is like, well, instead of using like regular pepperoni, you would use turkey pepperoni. And by doing that, you almost have the calories of what you're eating. So you can you know use the same amount like volume of food, but have half the calories. And maybe it's not the 100% of the taste. And I understand the hang up there. I really do. But that's something that for me it was like I had to figure out: is it more important for me to have a better taste, or is it more important for me to be able to feel full and get the benefit of losing weight? So that's where it could what it boiled down to essentially. I had to make that decision in my mind. But like I said, I mean, you can eat these things and you can be full. I mean, I every day I eat. Well, I'll be honest. I mean, I kind of eat the same stuff over and over, but that's just me. You don't have to do that, or anybody else. I mean, can do what they want. There's tons of recipes out there. On that these guys give you for free, essentially, and you can make. They've got recipes for pancakes and French toast and all kinds of stuff. Myself, I'm just always in a hurry to to do things, so I tend to eat like these. I use like low calorie wraps, turkey pepperoni, fat free cheese, Sometimes I'll use, like low calorie, like pizza sauce, or or even just pizza sauce in general is kind of low calories, anyways. I mean, but like I make like pizza burritos a lot, or pizza muffins. I use low calorie muffins. That's one of my those two are a couple of my go tos almost every single day. Sometimes I'll do like egg and cheese burritos, or again with the low calorie wraps, and we use like liquid egg product. There's egg whites, but I don't know. It's the egg whites seem a little different. I always use the egg product. It's yellow, and maybe it's just a mental thing, but it seems like it feels better when I'm eating it. So, but but yeah, stuff like that. You just like almost everything you eat when you do that is like half the calories of what it would have been. So you could eat like twice as what you were going to eat, twice the amount of food you were going to eat. I know that sounds bad, but like, I mean, in a sense, I mean, like, oh, you're still eating a ton, but like, it's unbelievable though, like, because I can eat that much and keep my calories like, at a level where I'm still in a deficit, and I mean, I have been successful with this, coming all the way down to where I'm at now, which is 181, and and honestly, I mean, when I really like kicked into this, this yeah, I guess you call it eating habits, or meal. You could say diet. I mean, but to me, it's not like Weight Watchers, whatever, or where I'm like eating salads and crap all day. I mean, I just that's not the kind of person I am. I like to have full things. I mean, like I said, burritos and muffins and stuff. That's the kind of food I like to eat. So I could, so I can do it by following these guidelines, by using, ingredients that are just lower calorie. um, you know, I went, and like I said, and when I started this, I just completely quit doing the intermittent fasting altogether. I decided, well, I'm usually hungry when I come home in the morning, so I'll come home, I'll make something that follows these guidelines. It's usually like a couple of like what I would call like egg McMuffins, but they're not really. They're homemade egg McMuffins. You use low calorie muffins, Canadian bacon, liquid egg product, and like a slice of either fat free American cheese, or like I use Velveeta jalapeno cheese. It's like 40 calories a slice. And you make this stuff, and you end up with a meal that's usually under 400 calories, and you feel good. I mean, I feel good. I eat a couple of them, I feel full, go to bed, wake up, feel good. I eat again, and for me, I mean, that's what I just pretty much do all day. I mean, I eat stuff like that, and that make me feel full, but are low calorie, and I can stay under where I need to be, to maintain a healthy weight. And the one thing I'll say though is that I have hit a plateau with this as well. And I've gotten to a point now where I have to either, because I haven't, a lot of stuff happened. Everybody knows this past year has been kind of crazy. I quit working out as much as I did before, but I was still able to lose weight, with what I was doing, with the foods I was eating, without working out. So I think I felt okay about it. I said, okay, I'm doing okay still. So, but I think that's right now where I'm at as far as a plateau is, like, I try to make my daily calorie intake is usually about, like, on average between 22 to 2300 calories. I weigh, like I said, anywhere between 179 and 182 pretty much every day when I wake up. And I'm not really exercising like I should be. So I think that's where I have finally, like, I'm at a resting place now where this is where my body is in like a balance. Like I'll stay at I'll stay at the 181 average, at 22 to 2300 calories, and not doing any physical activity essentially. Which I mean isn't bad, really. I mean, like I'm what, almost 60 pounds below where I started initially. Um, you know, way back when I was 240. So it's, like I said, I think a lot of people look at me and they say, people that knew me when I was heavier, and they look at me and they say, oh well, man, I mean, you can't lose much more weight, but everybody is their own worst critic. I look at myself and I say, oh, this, um, I'm definitely lighter than I was. I appreciate that. I can appreciate that I'm much healthier than I was. However, I am still overweight. When I had initially started and I had looked at the, BMR calculators, and they said, how much you should weigh, and what your BMI is, or should be, and what your recommended weight should be based on your, age and height and all that. And they had always said, I should be 165. And I remember when I was in the two twins, I said, man, 165, there's no way I could, that I wouldn't, I just felt like I wouldn't, my body could never get that low, not because of effort or anything, but just because I didn't think like I had that much to lose. But now that I'm like 15, 16 pounds away from that, I realize that, yeah, I can. I am at that point. I can lose that extra 15 pounds and I would look lean then, that's not unhealthy, but actually like, like just not fat, I guess, is what I'm trying to get at. So for me, it's basically, I think, at this point I have to, get back to working out consistently. Either that or I have to lower my calories, which I don't really want to do. I feel good, with what I'm eating every day. And also, I apologize, going back and forth here. Side note, though, I do usually have a free day each week, even with what I'm doing now, where I'll eat something that doesn't follow these guidelines, of the all low calorie versions of things. Like last night, we had Chinese food. That's like my guilty pleasure food. And I'll get like a sweet and sour chicken, with a big white rice. And I know that baby is probably 2,000 calories by itself, that whole meal. But, it just, it's good to have some, still eat something you like, here and there. I mean, something you really like. That's something like I really like. I think the best thing to do though is when you do that kind of stuff, is just to know that know if you're going to do it a certain day, and try to kind of make up for it a little bit if you can in the morning. Like eat a little bit less in the morning if you can, just to save yourself some calories, or maybe just eat a little less throughout the week. Not a whole lot, but just a little bit. Even 100 calories a day, and you get to that sixth day, that'd be 600 calories you saved. That's something that you can, add on to your sweet and sour chicken or pizza or whatever you want to eat. But yeah, I mean, getting back to what I was saying though, at this point, it's probably best that, I'm going to try to start getting back into a normal workout routine, throwing some cardio in and stuff, maintaining the calories I'm at now. Like I said, around 22 to 2,300 calories. If I can, get in, an hour of cardio or 45 minutes of cardio or whatever. I mean, I'll start small, probably 30 minutes or something, and then do some weightlifting. That adds up throughout the week. If let's say I get an hour and a half total of exercise in a day, at the end of the week, I mean, you're talking about 10 plus hours of exercise that you wouldn't have done before, and that's calories you're burning, versus sitting around doing nothing or whatever, or sitting at a desk doing work or whatever, or I don't know, whatever people do. So I think that's where I'm at now. So I'm hoping that I can get down to the 165 is where I'd like to be. And then once I get down to that point, I don't want to like say okay, I'm done. I'm I think I think my goal at that point is going to be to put on some muscle, and kind of just go from there. See how it goes. But yeah, overall though, I mean, there's a lot I glossed over and stuff, but this video is already a half hour long, so I I'm sure a lot of you have already turned off by now, but I just kind of wanted to give an overview of what I've gone through, what worked for me, and hopefully maybe somebody will get some help out of this. I don't know. I'll probably I'll make some more videos about like specifics and try to cut them down shorter too, so they're not so much of a commitment to watch. Just to kind of show people what I go through and what meals I'm eating and stuff, so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm doing, and what's worked for me. I would just say though too that it's not going to happen overnight. It will happen quickly though. At least it did for me. I have been doing this for a bit. I don't remember exactly when I started. Well, no, I do actually remember exactly when I started. It was August of last year is when I started. Well, I'm sorry, August of 20. Yeah, it was August of 2020, wasn't it? Yeah. So that's when I started doing this. What they call the anabolic diet, but making better calorie choices for what I was eating. And I've went down from, I think I was 211 when I started, and now I'm down to 181, and I've maintained the 181 again without working out or doing anything extra. So that's 30 pounds, just by making better calorie choices, but also staying full, staying like I feel good. I don't feel like I'm dying all the time eating lettuce and stuff. So anyways, yeah, well, yeah, thanks for watching, I guess. And yeah, I'll keep doing stuff, keep trying to, keep everybody up to date with what's going on and help anybody where I can, because it's life-changing stuff. Feels good. It's not easy, but you'll get used to it, and you'll feel a lot better. But alrighty, thanks again, guys. Take care.